I would say my stoma was less gross than
Oh,
this
I don't
hole.
want to see it then.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll pass.
I'll be honest, when you guys saw it, wasn't even as bad as what was towards the end. Anyway, welcome to the podcast, everyone. We don't need to talk about my past surgeries these past 2 months.
You
It's been
literally
great.
brought it up.
You're right. I brought up the hole in my stomach. I didn't bring up the surgeries. So
I mean, how
What
did
is
it
a
get
natural
there?
consequence?
How did it get there, Brayden?
Welcome
just
to
there?
Beyond the. Welcome to. We're gonna moving on, guys. Bits already out. Bits out.
Jeez, guys, I have a hole in my face. Actually, I have 3 of them.
You have 5,
My ears are not on my face; they're on the sides.
but your
of my
eyes are. Welcome
My
Beyond
eyes
Tavern
are not
Wall.
holes. This was a gross opening. What the fetch?
I know. I'm kind of debating on if
Drinking.
we do that or not.
I'm gonna start drinking.
That's the opening right there. Welcome to Beyond the Tavern Wall, everyone. Hunter's gonna start drinking water because
For the
he
first
only
time.
drinks water for the first time. He's actually only been on alcohol since birth. It's wild. He's a phenomenon.
He's a whiskey baby.
Scientific phenomenon. Welcome. We're excited to have you guys here today on this fine Wednesday morning, depending on when you're listening to it, but that's when it gets released. So we're gonna say Wednesday morning. I'm Brayden Figgins. I'm one of your hosts here on the podcast, and as always, I'm joined by Kendall, Sam, and Hunter. Haley will not be joining us because there's a bunch of people in our house that are sick.
There was
So-
an outbreak.
There was an outbreak of the what's the
They have
Resident Evil
Ebola.
virus. The
Wait,
Resident
wait,
Evil.
What was the big one that was going around in like 2008 or something?
Swine flu?
H1Z1. Yes, swine flu. Mm-hmm.
H1N1.
Yeah, they all have
H1N1.
the swine flu.
I
But-
remember because I was in 6th grade. I'm so sorry. I was in 6th
We
grade.
were.
And
Yes.
as a joke, I was gone one day, and as a joke, I came back, and somebody was like, "Where were you, Kendall?" And I said, "I got swine flu," and then I oinked like a pig, and they never talked to me ever again.
Nice.
And that person was me. Just kidding.
Was it?
Kendall, if you ever said anything like that to me, this marriage would end.
Wow.
I'm kidding. That was pretty funny.
In all reality, Sam, you'd be the one saying that to her.
I would.
Well, we're excited to bring up this topic today, okay? We're going to be
I'm gonna go
talking
close my
about
door, ladies and gents. One sec.
table secrets because he has to close the door because what he's going to be
Door is
saying,
closed.
Kendall can't hear because it's secret. So she's
Server Devin Kendall for this whole episode.
yeah. You actually you yourself have to
That's so
mute
mean.
Sam, and you will only hear what we say in response to Sam.
That's
So
actually kind of a fun idea.
that'd be actually really good. Maybe another cold open. But yeah, so
Oh.
table secrets. Do you keep them between player to player, player to DM, DM to DM? You know, like how do secrets play into your campaign, and how can they be used to push the narrative forward? So let's first talk real fast about secrets, okay? Why would you keep secrets at your table?
Is it's
For the
funny.
element- Yeah.
Makes the story more fun, makes reactions from your party members a lot more impactful and exciting. And it's just fun to mess with your DM.
hmm
We're gonna be talking about keeping secrets from your DM later on in this episode. So, what's the appeal of it then? So, like why do you keep it? What is the appeal of keeping a secret away from your fellow players?
It's the element of surprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't read a book or watch a movie or a TV show or anything like that if we knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean, like, I would if I really enjoyed the movie and it's like my favorite movie and I want to watch it over and over and over again. But for the first time, we're not going to do that if we know exactly what's going to happen, right?
Mhm.
Because we all love that feeling of surprise and also trying to discover something and maybe being off just a little bit, but getting so close. Yeah.
But then also being like, oh, I totally knew that. I knew that. I guessed
Yeah,
it.
I
You
knew
know,
that.
like oh, I knew that all along. And then also putting. I think the fun part about it as well is like when that secret is dropped, you can then go back and just read everything, and you're like, oh my
Unravel
gosh.
everything, yeah.
I've always, for reading specifically, or I guess even movies, like the first read through is to experience the book.
Mhm.
The second read through is to understand the book. like
That I'm the
everything
same
that's
way.
going
I'm
on.
the same way.
The second read through is almost as fun as the first one, if
Mhm.
not more, because you understand things and you're just like, oh my gosh, like that's why this was all set up from the beginning for this climax to happen, but it was so subtle, blah 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 blah. You know, the shotgun on the wall kind of deal.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Chekhov's gun.
yeah, Chekhov's gun. Bless you. Um, yeah. I think so. So from a DM perspective, um, I think it's obviously we're not. I don't want to talk about keeping secrets from as a DM from your players because DMs have to kind of keep secrets from your players because it goes with what Kendall said. Like you don't want to understand the whole uh, plot before you get to it, right? And in D&D being a story itself, you don't want the DM does not want that to be shared. But a DM to player secret, like where you two are keeping it from the other players, is so fun to finally get to, you know? When I'm over here just like, hey, Hunter is part of this secret group, or Hunter has this specific thing in his backstory that no one else knows. And then all of a sudden it starts coming out, and it's just like, oh, you can watch the players just kind of be like, oh no, oh no, oh no, like what's going on? And then if you have the perfect note taker, they'll start flipping back in their notes. And that's one of the best feelings is when someone starts putting something together and you're just like,
Love that feeling.
and they're like, oh my gosh, no way, this and this and this and this. It's such a satisfying feeling. And that's the appeal to me as a DM is just to get that reaction from your players.
And then they get mad at you and start calling you names, but in the most affectionate way in the world.
Yep.
It's the
I mean, you
best.
guys just call me names anyway, so
Yeah, but
yeah. It's,
part
it
of the
is what it is.
territory.
It's part of yeah, it comes with me, you know, right? Yeah. What about you, Hunter and Sam?
So I just find it interesting. It adds more layer to a character. A lot like what's already been said is that, you know, in most adventuring groups, you're not gonna know everybody like right off the bat. This is especially in our group. This is a bunch of random people that you've just been traveling with that you know basically nothing about. Why would you just be an open book with them and tell them everything? And then in our case, we just don't roleplay and tell each other secrets very often.
Nah, there's no reason you guys should be adventuring together. Just kidding. there's reasons.
There's
This is-
shared adventure there.
There's
This is
shared
why we just need to
experiences.
derail the campaign and just start selling cheese to rich monarchs.
You guys have made connections with 3 now,
Yeah, that's true.
3 customers.
so. Mm-hmm.
Sharks. Have we got an idea for you?
Oh my gosh.
Go to
D&D
Tiamat.
Shark Tank campaign idea? Oh my gosh.
Episode idea.
call it-
That's such a fun episode idea.
Mhm.
Call it the
Right.
double bag of holding.
Sam, what's the
One
appeal to
inside the other. Okay, sorry.
don't do that. What's the appeal of secrets to you?
Trying to think of something that hasn't been
If
said.
it's fine if you say because it's your thoughts as well.
I am a sucker for subtle manipulation.
Oh, kinky. I mean, oh yeah.
So, having information that you know other characters or players don't have, I just find it really fun because then you can kind of persuade the way that they're going to deal with future situations.
I really like how you put that actually. Like I made the joke thinking, but that's actually like so true. If you know knowledge is power, and if you know something they don't know, you have power over them in a way for certain things. But then it also can be used against you. You know, like if you don't know something that Bast knows, she has all the power over you in that source, right?
Yeah, like I know Bass has a weak constitution and can't hold her beer.
Hey, I'm working on it.
So yeah, how do secrets? Let's go with that. You know, the dynamic between player to player. How do secrets enhance that dynamic of a party?
You have a ton of opportunities to have moments of surprise or anger or joy. But it opens up role play to have those moments with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to word this, but I'm at the end of my day, guys. I'm very tired. I'm trying.
What I can add is that I feel like it forms a little bit more. I hesitate to say the word intimate because I know this group, but an intimate
Oh.
relationship with the other players and their characters. Because I mean, it can form trust, it can break trust, keeping secrets, revealing those secrets. It's a very thin line to walk with secrets. But in the case of our campaign so far, I mean, I've shared like the real details of who Strider is and what he does with one person so far. And up to this point, even though I've traveled with Lyria and Hester for far longer, at this point he probably trusts Bast the most because he has entrusted her with that secret and that she has not betrayed his trust with that secret.
I actually have a question about that. So let's give some backstory. Strider is part of a group in the Empire Sandvor called the Raven Guard. They're basically the spy network of almost the CIA, a little bit of the Empire. And so he was kind of not going up in those ranks. He had a mentor and all that stuff, and then obviously went off on an adventure, and here he is now, right? Bast being the one who Strider told. How does Bast react to knowing that? Because Bast isn't from any of the three kingdoms of the continent of Liabec. So what does Bast think of having that secret now?
Kind of the same if somebody from England were to come over here and say, I'm in MI6, and you're kind of like, cool. What's that? You know, like,
Yeah.
kind of like
So you know James Bond.
yeah. Oh yeah, you know James Bond is so cool. Yeah. Also, it's just like I think Bast is past the point of. She's definitely past the point of wanting to share that information, like her as a character, because she knows she has skeletons in her closet. Everybody has skeletons in their closet, and
She has a
knows, like,
lot.
That's
It's kind of creepy.
Backpack Boy doesn't even have a skeleton.
he
Yeah.
doesn't. You can borrow one of the ones in the closet. Anyway.
Yeah. You. Oh no.
Good response.
No, but she knows that if he wants to share it with the group, he will. But it's not her business or her duty to share it with the group.
Do you feel like it changes your dynamic with Hunter's character?
Yeah, I would say so. Because I feel like Parker left a void a little bit.
Yeah. Parker was
'Cause
another character in our
Yeah.
campaign earlier, so.
Yeah, so I think he's filling that role of Parker,
Mhm.
where I wouldn't say it's a begrudging alliance, because with Bast and Parker was a wizard who and this Bast knew Parker when she was extremely naive, and so Parker thought she was annoying as crap.
I actually really liked
And so
Parker as a character too. Like Parker was really cool. So
me too. He was fun. And so Parker would go, like, basically the best way I can describe their dynamic is Donkey and Shrek. Like,
okay.
like, he was sending me out for blue flowers, red thorns. That's what he was doing with me, right?
Red thorns.
Yeah. So that's kind of, I feel like that's the friendship that Bast has been missing since Parker has been gone. Bast is no longer Donkey. She's not naive anymore. So it would be a different character dynamic, but it would fit that role.
Bast is a character out of Game of Thrones now, not happy.
No. Yeah, she's definitely a Game of Thrones character now.
Because no one's happy in those books.
No.
I'm gonna give Sam and Kendall a scenario, okay? And
Okay.
we're gonna go off of this secret from Hunter, and I want to know your guys' quick thoughts on this. So let's say, I feel like the Ravens Guard in the Empire Sandvor is known. Not much. Like, it's kind of like the CIA. We know about the CIA. We don't really know much we know what they do. We don't really
We
know,
don't talk about Fight Club.
but we don't talk
Yeah.
about Fight Club, kind of, like we know what they've done in the past, right? So kind of a similar vibe to the Ravens Guard, not as that. They're much more spy over, Project MK Ultra, everyone, as far as you know. So let's put you guys in the shoes of a character and of an adventurer who is from the Empire of Sandvor. Knowing that the Ravens Guard is the spy, or even actually no, let's do this. You guys are a adventurer from the rival kingdoms of the Kingdom of Valyria or the Grim Ember Dominion, and you guys now have been adventuring with a party who is a party member who is part of the spy network who gathers information to give the Empire an advantage. You've been adventuring with him for months at this point. How would you react if you were told that he was one of those people? Does that make
He's a
sense?
spy. He's a spy.
hmm
I'm kind of trying to contextualize it into our world as well. So I feel like it would be like my friend telling me that they're in the Russian intelligence agency. Like
yeah. Nothing. Yeah.
I don't know. Shock, definitely. I would definitely see them differently. A whole lot of maybe denial, and then like going through seeing if there were any signs, just the stages of grief a little bit, not to the extreme of grief, but it would definitely throw your world upside down.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to see if you would get at. Not like I was more interested in how you guys would do it, but like that's a way a secret can. Because for Bast, I feel like Bast is kind of in this different spot. You had a perfect example of if someone came up, I'm part of the MI6. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm a normal civilian.
I don't know what that means.
For Bast, I don't know what that means. But for like us, if someone were to come up, like your friend were like, I am part of the MI6, I'd be like, that's cool. Like, you have nothing on me. I don't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
Like, oh no, shoot, I'm not a government figure or anything like that. But it's also like, in the other sense of if it was a rival kingdom, like the scenario I brought up, how does that change the dynamic of it all? So, and you guys answered kind of the thought way you would. It's more of like I kind of don't know if I can trust him, or has he been lying to me, or is he trying to get information about me, about my country, or whatever it may be. So, which, by the way, if a Russian spy came up to me and tried to figure out anything about this country, I'm sorry, you're asking the wrong dude.
Man.
I think we have amendments.
So what is your opinion on the military bases around here? Cool. They're really loud at times.
Bases?
What kind of planes would you say you see flying overhead?
Big ones.
The ones that go pew pew pew. I don't know.
How often do they go by? What are the most active hours? Just asking for a friend, just casual conversation.
Exactly. So,
what farmland is most important to you?
Is there a point? What farmland is most important to you? That's hilarious. Is there a point though where player-to-player secrets can become frustrating?
I would say yes, absolutely.
What is that point for you?
That point would probably be, at least for me, when you have like maybe a small group of players that end up just having their own story outside of the party that no one else is allowed to touch for a long period of time.
What do you mean? So like they're kind of just playing their own game? Because there are some things that are like for example, Strider now has this arc to go follow the girl she met at the bar, not the bar, the ball. The other intelligence agent or whoever it may be, and share intelligence together. So, like, is that what you're meaning, or is it more
no, not like that at all. But like when they are playing, like they're almost in another entire campaign without everyone else.
Okay.
But like in the campaign that they're already in.
Okay. No, I
does that make sense at all?
A little bit. I think I don't know if I 100% agree. I understand what you're trying to say, but there are some times where someone's story doesn't um coincide, like it goes along with your story, but it's not.
Here,
Maybe
let
you're
me see if
saying
I
goes
can
in the
explain it
opposite
better.
direction.
I guess
Like
what I'm
it's not.
saying is if Braden, like if I come to D&D,
Mhm.
let's say we actually have a good weekly schedule. We've been going once a week for like 4 months. And if like 70% of the session was dedicated to just one or two players because of secrets that they hold, and I'm just sitting there for hours watching their story
Okay, I understand you.
that
Yeah,
they're
that
they're
makes
forcing.
sense.
That's what I
And then
mean.
in game, they can't share that with you.
Exactly, and they just
Okay.
refuse.
I was only in the mind of in game, so you're talking about frustration as the player themselves. So okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
No, I'm now on board with that. That would be very frustrating.
To add on to that, 'cause I 100% agree that would be very annoying. That'd be honestly kind of just a waste of my time. Um, for me, one thing that would be super frustrating is just a player refuses to divulge secrets. Like it's understandable, probably like the first 2 or 3 times. Like if you kind of start to pick up on things and you start asking their player about it, their character about it, they might not be so willing to share. But if like you were traveling for ages and ages and ages and you've like formed a bond and they're still just like, no, I'm not going to tell you this. I'm not going to tell you this. Like no matter how much you would ask about it, that would just start to really piss me off. It'd be like, hey, do you even want to be part of this group? Do you
Mhm.
want to have a
Mhm.
relationship with us?
And they always say that's what my character would do. Oh, then my character would do that. That we could, dude. That's a whole episode in and of itself. To just talking about that. Mhm. Kendall, what about you?
Um, yeah, I kind of agree with Sam and Hunter because I could see it being frustrating as somebody who's trying to role play and trying to be like, hey, you can trust me, and they don't divulge that secret. It to me, as coming from an improv standpoint, the one rule of improv is yes and,
Mhm.
right? So if I present this opportunity to you to share your secret as characters, right? And you don't take it and you just shut it down, to me that kind of like stops my improv role play flow. And so that's what's frustrating is that there's been a
Mhm.
stop of flow, but also from the story standpoint there is no progression. And I'm not saying like the second I meet somebody, I go up to them and say, "What's your deepest darkest secret?"
Yeah, I
And they
wanted to.
say, "I'm not going to
I was
tell
gonna
you."
ask that. So.
Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
going to tell you. No, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like a bonded party member. You've had multiple conversations before this. Shutting it down. Yeah. Um yeah, that's what I would think is frustrating. And then maybe just maybe your party member has information you've been looking for and they haven't, you know, made that known. Like let's say
Mhm.
you've been looking for a clue as to where your sister has gone and you hear something through the grapevine that she's with this group and your friend used to be a member of that group. Your party member used to be a member of that group and he knows where they hide out. And he doesn't tell you for like 6 months. I would be pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat them up.
I do want to bring up something with that because I agree with you, Kendall, that the improv side of yes and is important. But like you said, there also has to be a story side to it as well, and you don't want to just go up to someone, "Hey, you deep your darkest secret, go," and then you yes and off that. How do you, if you are the person with the secret, and your character, I made the joke about I'm like that's what my character would do, but there are some times where that is an appropriate thing as long as you're not being detrimental to the campaign. Um, how would you go about being that player who doesn't want to share that secret? Maybe that secret is very traumatic or something like that, or that secret could possibly like oh, I'm actually the child of the big bad that we're going after, or I'm the child of the person who killed your family or whatever. Like, how do you go about that in a way that still allows for that role play, but also still keeps that secret that your player may not want to share?
Nonverbal communication.
I think
How so?
instances like that too would also be partially up to the discretion of the DM,
Yeah.
because those are massive story points as well.
Yeah.
It's your backstory though. You can share them whenever you want.
That's true.
Hmm.
But I think, Braden, you would agree that if you put like a big story point in your backstory that you know that you will use, you're probably going to use it.
The difference is that I do not have control over what you guys share. I cannot go up to him and be like, by the way, you can't share this information until I do my one thing, you know? Because that's me taking control of the narrative. I have to be able to adapt my story to how you guys are playing. So if that was a big plot point, I actually think it would be better if it organically came up. Let's just say we're going off the secret of Hunter is the person who killed Bast family. I don't think that's my responsibility of being the one to be like, Hunter, you can't share that.
I don't. That's not what I was going at though.
What were you? Sorry, that's kind of what I understood. What were you
So
meaning?
let's use the I'm the son of the big bad as an example. I guess what I was saying is it would be up to the discretion of you portraying the big bad to possibly drop that information in some form.
Yeah, that's one way the secret could come out, but there's
But
also the secret of
I didn't mean like, oh, we lock story behind my backstory.
there's
You
a
can't
paywall.
do this. Yeah.
So yeah, that's I feel like that's just one way the DM can drop the big secret, but there's also the player can at the same time has they can share that secret at their discretion, you know? Like and that would not be a problem to me. That is something I'm aware that could happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Kind of circling back to that point of what do you do when you're still trying to hold the secret but don't want to just completely kill the role play? I had an experience with this in one of our previous sessions when we were first meeting with the High Justiciar, and he started asking like who we were. Now, me playing Strider, I know that I have horrid charisma, therefore very bad deception. So that me still wanting to keep that secret about who I am, where I was from, not wanting to potentially label myself as an enemy of the country, very much so just skirted around it as much as I could, telling half truths while not giving the full picture.
because
Yeah.
that still it still allows for that yes
You still
and,
have
but it's
that
more of like a
good
yes
role play.
and. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good way if it's like a logical secret in the way of like I'm a government agent or like something of that
Mhm.
I don't know, nature, I guess. I don't know. Um but for like an emotional reason where you don't want to share the secret like I'm responsible for your best friend's death or something like that. A really good line that yes ands but also kind of either shuts it down or creates incredibly engrossing and engaging role play is please don't make me answer that. Yeah. So if you want to go the emotional route and
Like
not shut it
Mishra
down.
said to
Oh,
Daniel.
is that what she said?
Yeah,
she did.
because Farron was like, "Is this all true?" When he learned the secret, and she was just like, "Don't let me answer that. Don't make me answer that." I didn't know that. I'm improving. Oh my gosh!
I guess you're a
It's not like an
professional.
improv rule. It's not like an improv rule.
Every single time you bring up a secret now, that's what I'm using. I actually now want to recircle back to Sam because Sam what he brought up is kind of player to DM secrets. Okay, and I want to pose a question going off of what Sam says is when is it what's the word I'm looking for? Actually, we're gonna skip over the player to DM and we're gonna go to the big reveal because I
Okay.
think we can go back because that kind of brings up when is it right for a player or a DM to reveal their big secret? What point can that happen? So can that happen?
Mm. I feel like it's difficult to nail down like an exact time. It just kind of depends on the situation. Because again, going back to me divulging my secret to Bast, it is very much so. We are getting into like heavy politics now. This is a very big part of something that I've played a part in. It's going to be
Mhm.
pretty prevalent. It's probably going to need to be brought up at some point with somebody, and she's poking about it. So we're going to see if we can trust her with this secret.
I think I want to go back to what Sam said kind of at the same time because there are times where I do have plot points shared like from your backstory. I'm like, okay, like going again, you're the child of the big bad. Okay, I have that planned, right? I'm maybe at this point when you meet the big bad, we'll say it's Strahd. Strahd comes over and is just like, oh, this is my child. Ha ha ha. Now you guys know this. Okay. But the player also knows that. The player, if they feel like it's right, can share that because in effect, it gets this, in effect, it gets the same effect as it would, if not more, because it is coming from player to player. I'm not forcing something as the DM. The players are role playing it out. And now the player gets to have that dynamic of, hey, by the way, I shared this with you out of trust, out of anger, or whatever it may be. So now there's a little bit more to that instead of, oh yeah, by the way, the DM wanted this out.
Mm.
Because there, I'm trying to think of a plot point that a lot of your backstories don't mix well. None of your guys' back, so there's not like a big thing that happened. But we'll go to the now defunct mini campaign we were doing, where Iris, Kendall's character, we're still planning on doing a mini campaign. We're just switching it up. By the way, haha. Really cool. We're excited. Iris's character, her dad worked for a company known as the Athena Industries. They created cybernetics in a not so ethical way, and he ended up getting basically diseased from it. Well, Dahlia, Haley's character, her dad owns and founded Athena Industry. So Iris, who has this kind of hatred towards Athena Industry, now knows that her friend of 2+ years, her dad is the one in charge, of what happened. So when I shared that with you, when you figured that out, do you think it would have been more impactful if Dahlia shared that with you, or was it more impactful that I, as the DM, did? Or what would have changed if maybe that's the better question? What would have changed if Dahlia shared that with you?
If Dahlia shared that with me, that's a good question. I think maybe Iris would have more of an angry reaction. But in the situation where we were in, I had to keep my cool.
Mm-hmm.
So if if Dahlia told me and we were alone, there definitely would have been like an angry reaction. But Iris is one to keep things close to the chest and not let people know exactly how she's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So she probably would have played it off. But as a DM, I was able to digest that information. And then start to formulate not really a plan, but an opinion about what to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess
So
my
really-
thinking is clearer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So in the end, it really just depends on if the player or the DM feels like it's right to share that information, right? because in the end, like, it could completely change the dynamic of a party. Now that I'm thinking of it, when we do after we finish the Monday night campaign, whenever that is, uh, I think it'd be fun. I've always wanted players to come together and be like, here's our conjoined backstory together. I think it'd be so fun to be able to like do off that. Like you think of in Critical Role, Vex and Vax, you know, they were twins. That's so fun to play with. Or in the start of campaign 3, Matt Mercer kind of combined them all together at the beginning and all that stuff. Not 3, campaign 1, 2. That's I can count. The middle one. What's that? What comes after 1? 7. Okay. Yeah, in campaign 2, they all had like pre-session zeros where a bunch of them were together and all that. I think that is extremely fun to do because then you can build these secrets that okay, maybe this is a little, sadistic of me, but one of my favorite things to do is to try and put a wedge between party members. Okay? Because it adds a dynamic and a layer of storytelling that you probably wouldn't get otherwise. You know?
Yep, conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's very true. It's interesting that you going back to campaign 2, there is a point pretty early on where there is almost I shouldn't say almost, there was conflict between Caleb, Liam's character, and Ford, Travis's character.
Oh yeah.
There were a couple points where they started clashing, and I thought that was a super interesting dynamic to watch, and then watch
Because
their
they-
relationship grow from that.
They had their secrets.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
very interesting secrets.
Mm-hmm. I like driving a wedge, and secrets are a great way to do that. I think we're not all of us are perfect at improv. We're not gonna we're obviously we are playing a character, so even if we make a completely different character to who we are, we're still going. Kendall will still have a bit of Kendall in every character, right? So sometimes decisions that maybe Bast, and if Bast was a human, an actual person, maybe Bast wouldn't have made that because Kendall has a little bit of stuff in there. Like Kendall's a fantastic person. Kendall's a good, like a naturally good person.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think Kendall's gonna try to strive and do,
murder.
not murder,
Yes.
drive a wedge between players. I think in your role playing as well, I don't think Bast would, specifically, personally. Like if we're not all perfect improvers, so that's why I like to do personal wedges as a DM is to drive that dynamic. So you guys need to start hating each other more on your own. So
Okay,
then
gotcha. Let
I
me write
don't have
that
to
down.
worry about it. That's
Okay.
less work for me, and as a lazy person, perfect.
Yikes.
Okay, let's go back to player to DM secrets because I think this is another important one to talk about. And when we say player to DM, we include backstory, like things in your backstory, but also like dream sequences that a player might have or one-on-one conversations that a player might have with someone. Those are the secrets that are over the table or whatever it may be that kind of happen naturally within the game. My question to you guys, if I am role playing with Sam in a one-on-one situation, how do you guys avoid meta knowledge of that secret?
I zone out and forget it happened.
Actually,
Yeah.
you guys are perfect.
You
To some
almost said
extent-
stupid.
I said wild. You guys are
To some
stupid.
extent, I try to do the same, but for the most part, I almost feel like I put a label on it. I'm like, you do not know this. Your character does not know this. Don't touch it.
Mhm.
Mm.
And then I
So-
hope that I just remember that label.
The big question is does that affect maybe subconsciously some of the decisions that you make?
Maybe
Personally,
sometimes.
I feel like it happens every now and then. I feel like I do my best, and I feel I do a pretty good job at not letting it affect it.
hmm
But that's just me. I don't know if you've seen
I-
otherwise.
There's always subconscious things that kind of
Yeah.
make it happen, right? So and that's something we can't avoid. That's just human condition. Understanding that it's hard to push knowledge that fully out of it. I have a difficult time with that. because when it comes to me, I get so into the story, and then when it's a one-on-one thing, I'm like, okay, I am interested in this as
The juicy
Braden, you know,
details.
as Braden, I want to know this, not my character, but then I have a hard time compartmentalizing everything. It's just a jumbled, like, you know, the episode of SpongeBob where he forgets his name, but everything's on fire constantly. That's my brain. Is everything's just on fire. So there's just so many things going in where sometimes I will just forget, and I'm like, I'm trying not to, but I also know that your character does this now, so I'm gonna meta knowledge a little bit of it as well, and it's my fault as a player, and I need to work on that. Um, Sam, what are your thoughts on that?
I'd like to say that I'm a perfect individual that's never used meta knowledge. I think even the strongest player is always slightly influenced by just a dash of meta knowledge.
Yeah. hmm Well, the first part of what you said is true. You know, you're a perfect individual, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm also incredibly beautiful and handsome.
Yeah, look at
Yeah,
him.
he
Prince
is.
Caspian.
Woo!
Ayo. So I want to maybe here's another question. What about just plain old DM secrets? Okay, do you think, other than obviously they have to keep secrets for plot points and all that stuff, when does it become a problem that the DM has too many secrets? I actually have a thought about this.
I guess
I don't know.
that's hard for players to know. Sorry, go ahead with your thought,
Mhm.
Hunter. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Because I'm actually pretty sure I'm just going to kind of speak along the same lines as you. Is that it's a delicate, really point to look at? Because how are your players supposed to know that these are secrets, things that they're not supposed to know? I mean, your players definitely are not going to know every inch and crevice of your world, every group that exists, what everybody is doing. So of course, there's going to be like quote unquote secrets, or just things that they haven't learned yet because they haven't
Mhm.
bothered to look into it.
Yeah. My thoughts is, and I'm gonna speak. I'm looking at all of you DMs out there. Okay, if you lock
Impossible check.
everything behind a DC 30 impossible check,
Oh my gosh.
um, learn how to DM. I don't think it's a problem to have one super difficult check. Our campaign has had one super difficult check of understanding what the gods did prior and how they locked your memory. I think that is fair. First try. I think, yeah, first, yeah. You guys freaking
Try.
classed it out. Like, I don't think that's a problem because sometimes it happens and there are secrets. And my justification is that the gods did it. They were not able to fully get rid of the memory, but they had to lock it away. And one of the side effects was that every single person ever born gets that handed down to them. So that was the side effect. So that's why you guys understood, even though you weren't back there. It's not a problem to have one. But if every single plot point you have is hidden behind an investigation check or some absurdly insane check that you can't, like your players are not going to get, or your average player isn't going to get, you need to rethink how you're DMing. If you have major plot points that aren't just found naturally, your players aren't going to go with what you want to do. Okay? You can make them make an investigation check. Give them more knowledge if they do it though. But they're going to get the basic knowledge of what they need behind it. Hunter, you're thinking.
I will say kind of within reason, like make it don't have a player just go and be like, "Hey, can I learn this?" and then have them be like nowhere near the ability to actually learn that sort of thing. Like if they're looking for ancient knowledge about the creation of the world or some sort of calamity based
Mhm.
event, don't have them just be like on the road and be like, "Hey, do I know anything about this?" Like honestly at that point I want to be like, don't even make a history, like if their character specifically does not spend a ton of time in a library researching, have like history proficiency or religion, I would be like, yeah, don't even make a check
No,
because
you
you're
don't know.
definitely not somebody that's looked for this sort of thing before.
Mm-hmm. No, we've had that in our campaign where there's been times people have asked. I'm just like, I think Bast is a big one. Bass would be like, "Do I know anything about this?" I'm like, "No, you grew up like sheltered, so you don't know anything about it."
I read
Um,
books.
He was such an
Yeah,
innocent
but let's be
child.
honest. Are they gonna have all the books out there? Okay,
No.
they're gonna. It's gonna be specifically to what they want. You know, just kidding. The point I bring up is like when there are plot hooks or plot points that need to be shared, and they're hidden behind a DC 20 check, and your characters are level 3. Like there are secrets, and then there's plot points.
Mhm.
And the secret should be used to enhance the plot points. Maybe they don't get everything, but they get enough to know where to go next. If you think of in Baldur's Gate, in the very
that?
first act, you go to that shrine of secret, the shrine below with the god of death or whatever, where you meet what's his name?
Withers.
Withers. I had to think of the mod, and that's the only way I got his name.
We all
Withers
know
Big
what mod.
Naturals.
Oh gosh.
Do you need to know who the shrine is to in order to progress the story? No, you don't need to. Does it help enhance your knowledge of what's going on? Yes, but it is not necessary. That's a secret you can keep. But if you're over here saying, "Oh, in order to do anything, you have to, make a DC 30 check," don't do it.
Mhm.
Don't. I'll harp on you. If you are doing that, I will find you in your sleep.
Don't
I will-
soft lock your characters out of
Yes,
things.
that's perfect.
Mhm.
That's a way to summarize my rant.
But in addition, I would say don't make them all gimmies, because that kind of
Mhm.
ruins a lot of the exploration part of the game. Being able to find these pieces of evidence and put it together, and then make these checks to kind of finally piece everything together. Because I mean, again, what is the fun if you just automatically know these secrets? I mean, Brayden, you recently just played Outer Wilds.
Yeah,
How much fun would it have been if I just said, "Hey, you're supposed to go here, and you're supposed to know this"?
I think the difference from what that is that if I were to tell you obviously beforehand, like obviously they still have to go investigate and they have to go investigate the right thing, but you shouldn't hide the things that will progress the story behind a paywall, if that makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, 100%, I agree. I'm just more so saying, don't. I would say for the most part, don't make it all just gimmies.
Yeah.
Give them the chance to go and explore, and if it's just like to the point where they are not figuring anything out, then throw them a bone a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like as in the DMs, from my perspective, are you talking specifically like about plot points or just figuring something out? Like,
would
what do you mean
say-
by gimmies? Like low checks, or they just get them for free?
I would say lower DC checks in that instance.
Okay, because from my perspective, if there is a plot point that needs to be said, you can discover that without a check. But I'm not just going to give it to you if you're 500 miles away from where you need to go. You have to be actively investigating for it. And then your investigation check, it determines what extra knowledge you get from it, is what it is. So you do
That's kind of
have.
more so where I'm going with it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. We're on the same page then.
Yeah.
It's not like, it would be like, you see these
Oh, you
scratch
see
marks, on
You
the
see this
wall.
thing on the wall. You have no idea what it is. Move on.
Mhm. Yeah, but you do see the thing on the wall, and then make a religion check. The religion check is going to be a DC of 17 or whatever. And if they don't get it, it's just a symbol on the wall. If they do get it, it's the symbol of the god of death, or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So,
Mm.
any other thoughts on that?
Nah.
No, DMs, you're allowed to have secrets. You also will have a lot of secrets, but don't be an a-hole. And I'm getting a potential spam call. Please don't call me. I'm recording, you
Ew.
jerk.
Here, let me answer. I
Um,
love spam calls.
I'm not going to answer it on the podcast. If I was streaming, 100% I would. Yeah, like just make sure you're giving the information that is necessary to your players when that information arises.
Mhm.
And then give them more after. And then if they don't get the check, they don't know they're walking into the tomb of the god of death, or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's a good place to wrap up. Any other thoughts before we do?
DMs, make all of your checks incredibly low.
Mm.
We literally
would
just
say-
said not to do that.
Said
I
from a
would say-
player.
Looking
Boo.
at that though,
I have
keep
a
in
negative
mind
intelligence stat. Please keep them low.
that's kind of where I'm going. Is keep in mind what your players' intelligence scores are, because if you have nobody in your party that is an intelligence-based character, you're probably boned if you're gonna go and throw a bunch of high DC checks in there.
I think that's actually something else we can talk about. So let's talk about that for a second. And maybe we just talk about DCs. DCs in general should be dynamic. Depending on who makes the roll, it should change. Like if Farron, who studies a lot of books, makes a history check or faces, it's gonna be a different DC than Backpack Boy, who doesn't know anything, you know?
He
Like if
just learned to
faces
read.
he just read Professor Zeus, okay?
Mhm.
So like your DC check should be dynamic when you're sharing a secret. Cause if there is a symbol of like a secret
Punctu-
thing that only the Raven Guard would know, Strider's gonna have a little bit more help with it, or whatever it may be. So yeah, make your checks dynamic. That's another topic as well we could do is dynamic DCs. So yeah, without anything else, let's go ahead wrap up. Thank you guys. You know what, Kendall, do you want to wrap up? I wrap up all the time. I'm bored. I don't want to do it.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna throw it to
Hey,
you. All
right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out to the podcast. Remember to pick up a duck and throw it first, and then tell your grandma all about Tinder. Read her your Tinder DMs. What else can we
Okay,
do?
wait, hold up. I might
Set
have to take
fire
this back.
to no set.
Nope,
hold
nope.
on.
We don't condone arson.
Set
But-
fire to
but
your local
telling your
McDonald's.
grandma
McDonald's.
about Tinder is
We
fine.
don't condone. We condone throwing ducks, but not arson. Okay.
Okay.
Draw the line at animal cruelty. Come on, you guys, have some class.
Well, okay. Thank you for coming out to the podcast. I'll end it. If you're not following us on social or on Spotify or wherever you're listening to
Sorry.
podcasts, no, that's hilarious. I love that. Make sure you shoot us a follow. We're at Beyond the Tavern Wall on all social media platforms, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can follow us there. It helps us out a ton. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email us at beyondthetavernwall@gmail.com or reach out to us on Instagram or TikTok, wherever you can send us a message. We will try to get back to you as soon as we can. And we also really enjoyed talking to you guys about D&D. So, and I honestly, I have a dream of getting this D&D think tank with people who aren't in my D&D party, where I can just send messages to people about what's going on and get your guys' thoughts. That's my dream, is to get like a D&D think tank like that. So if you guys want to talk D&D, 100% I'm down. And as always, the best way to share the podcast is by commenting on our episode, sharing the podcast as well, liking it on YouTube, like and subscribe on YouTube, and then also by word of mouth. You guys go into your D&D groups, your friends, family, whoever it may be, and sharing the podcast with them. And as always, the best way to share the podcast. Wait, no, I just said that. We like to give a little side quest, is where I was planning on going. I was looking down. I wasn't looking at the side. Sam, it is your turn. What side quest are we sending our adventurers on today?
Your quest today is to share the podcast with that friend you have that you know God just gave them a dump stat of charisma. That's who you're giving the podcast to. That's who you're sharing it with.
I thought you were going to say who God just gave a dumpy to. I was like, what the?
Okay, that's the new quest.
No, we're going to do dump stat.
Dumpy.
We'll do both, if you know someone who has a dumpy and also someone who has the dump stat of charisma, go ahead and share the podcast with them. Thank you guys so much for coming out to the tavern, and we'll catch you back here next Wednesday.
I believe
Bye.
the kids call it Rizless.
Oh gosh.
Ban that guy.
Gosh, boo.